Today in Fukuoka, we stepped into what looked like my grandparents' countryside living room, just with Japanese costumers. But the real question was, does it actually taste like home? My concerned eyebrows already formed their opinion, as always. So from this tiny Austrian bakery, it turned into a full-on feel-good day with book-off treasure hunts, a Moomin companion, sushi games, and way too many gacha. As always, again. And this is part 36. In winter, I saw a program on TV where they introduced an Austrian baker who opened their own bakery and cafe in Fukuoka, Japan. So I made it onto my to-do list to go and visit this cafe and bakery because I was really curious to go to like a German how it tastes. And it already looked Austrian, southern German from the outside. Cute and cozy, also on the inside. We found a nice seat and took a look at the German-Japanese menu. And this included the history of the Seiler family, and here you can see Mr. Seiler, who moved to Japan to continue his family's legacy here. We ordered goulash soup, and it came with a white fluffy bread roll. And here you can see the goulash soup that me and my husband shared, Lady and the Tramp style. And some coffee with cream for my husband and the grape juice for me. And I'm doing my pleasantly surprised face. So it tastes good. As main course, I had currywurst in a bun. And as you can see from my concerned eyebrows, and we already know what this means here, it's delicious. Again, confirming it. My husband ordered a hamburger, and it looks tasty. I was still suspicious, so I had to try. And it was amazing. The angrier and annoyed I look, the better the food tastes. But I think we already established that here. Still, I can't get over the fact that this is my amazing food face. On the napkin, you can also learn a little bit of German. Now, review time. We sat down in the cafe to have like a nice coffee. I took some grape juice, and we had goulash soup and also some currywurst and then hamburger. Like when it comes to burgers, then I don't identify them with typical German food. So it was a little bit like I would judge it differently, but it was still a really good, nice burger, and you could taste that they made everything from scratch, also the patty. And also the sausage, the meat from my currywurst sandwich was really nice. It was, in German we would say würzig, which the only translation in English is like spicy, but it doesn't mean like spicy and hot. That there was just enough of the typical German kind of spices in this sausage. And there was a really like a vegetable sauce at the side. It was really fruity. It really balances everything out. It was not nearly as heavy as a normal currywurst. And the bread. Let's talk about the bread. Like the taste was not sweet when you go to a convenience store or a typical Japanese bakery. It's always on the sweet side when you buy bread, even like the toast. But here you can really, it was on the savory side, but the only thing that felt different compared to German bread was that it felt more light, more fluffy, like there was more air inside the bread,
but it was really crunchy outside. I think it was like still really accurate in taste and really authentic. And if I would live here in Fukuoka as a German, I would go there if I feel like homesick and want to eat German food. So it was really, really good quality food. And if you are interested in Austrian kitchen, Austrian food, then I would recommend going there if you're in Fukuoka. And it was really popular. Like, people lined up and waited outside. It's on a Sunday day. Like, it's Sunday today, and a lot of families went there to have like some ice cream or some cake. It was the funny part was that when we entered there, it just felt like, I don't know, German countryside, German, like the living room of my grandmother or something like that. It was a little bit funny to see something like this in Japan with a bunch of Japanese people and us. But I loved it. Then there was also a takeout shop, and there you could buy sausage and real cheese.
And this is how the shop of the restaurant looks like. Cozy vibes definitely remained. A whole shelf with different sausages, a wide variety of bread, a selection of savory pastries, jams and jellies, different kinds of cakes, and stationed with goods for the season, like Easter. And more baked goods and pastries and even ice cream. I was actually surprised of how much they are offering, and yes, we bought some stuff to try out. Then we are on our way to our Book Off walking marathon. It definitely felt like one at the end of the day. The first one was pretty big. They had so many figures to offer, a whole wall to go through. And even more figures which are still in the box. A selection of Godzilla and a whole wall with tiny figures, like out of Gacha and blind boxes, so my kind of figures. You bet I looked through this. Found a sea lion with an impressive chin. We also gave the Switch games a closer look. Trading cards were also sold here, and on the upper floor were a lot of tables for people who play trading card games. So this book off was also functioning as a meeting point. And on the stairs going up or down, depending on which end you stand, were gacha machines. And yes, I found something intriguing, as always. A little sharp sign light that you can stack between books. And they have a lot of cute options. Looking back, I should have bought more. I have 2 giant reading towers standing in our bedroom, hunting after this in our next Japan journey. On our way, we passed a cute park, and I felt like tourists probably rarely find their way here. Now it was bird watching time, and also observing the pond where koi fish and turtles swim peacefully together. I hope no fighting. Besides the ducks, who were being fed, they fought for their food, but more in a competitive way. Who is the fastest to catch their bite? It was a nice breather before we entered the second book off. Not as big, but still a good selection. I regret not buying Laboom, but we found something special, not for ourselves, but as a souvenir for the daughter of a friend, a big Moomin plushie. And yes, I certainly had my fun with it. And to the third book off, here we focused mainly on the games. There weren't much figures. Some games had really interesting covers. I also always checked for the Taylor Swift CDs, but I didn't have any special edition or the ones I was still looking for. But they had Alle Farben, a German DJ I didn't expect to find here, and it made me very nostalgic. 2016, anyone? 2016? All the walking made us hungry, and we stumbled up on a Kura Sushi again. It's one of those things you find at the beginning of your trip, get amazed by it, and then you eat or drink it at every chance you got, because you don't have that back home. That was Kura Sushi for us on this trip. Yes, the gacha games played a part in this. But now, just watch us order on the tablet. They had a wide variety of sushi, and I feel like always different menu options throughout the regions. Maybe also because of the different seasons? Anyways, I had fun with the Moomin plushie sitting next to me. I now understand the appeal of cafes in Japan where you go alone and sit together with a giant plushie. I got a little off track, so look at all the plates we ordered and the delicious items on top. But now, my highlight of Kura Sushi. For every 5 plates, you could participate in a game and maybe you win something. This time with Detective Conan animation. And we lost the first round.
Fucking ducks.
And that was the face I make whenever we got new plays sliding in. At least I was distracted fast from my loss.
Move down, move up.
But Moomin had a suspicion. Now for some very glibbery jiggly mochi with soybean powder and some sweet sauce. Looks almost like somebody sneezed on that plate, but luckily it doesn't have the same color. Slimy and shapeless, but I was still able to grab it with my chopsticks, even when it turned a little acrobatic at sometimes. The taste was amazing and I enjoyed every bit of it. Next round. 5 plates in, and do we win something this round? It was the only time we went out of Kura Sushi without a prize. Yes, that was a spoiler. Is it time to compensate by buying gacha? It sure is, after all this losing. And this fruity duck gacha series caught my eye. You always get me with animals and food combos. So here, take my coins. And I got the little fig duck. I was so happy about that. But I needed more fruity ducks, so we give it another try. And I was even happier, the chubby melon duck. And last but not least, because you can never have too much gacha, the animals on scales called me back in. I saw this series first in Osaka and I got the little penguin out. So what is it this time? Something exciting, judging from my face. The little red Panda, just repeating in case my excited, overly pitched voice was in a frequency you couldn't hear anymore, but surely your dog did.
I had to get this because they always have this little cute story about the animal and the scale. I realized I'm a little bit too tired. My legs were really tired when we made a stop at Kura Sushi. I was already saying like I need to sit down a little bit because we were walking. This is an airplane. We were walking from the Austrian bakery Seiler to Book Off, after Book Off to next Book Off, and then home. So it was like a long walk for today, but it still felt like a feel-good day. So for now, for dinner, we're gonna have the Seiler breads. I want to make a little tasting. We took some garlic bread. This is also, I don't know if you can say dipped in Lauge. You know, like if you know brezel, then you probably know this brown crust. This is like a special method for the dough. I cannot explain the specifics, but I think that's how they made the crust, but they catered it obviously for the Japanese clients to make it a little bit more savory, because I cannot remember to see anything like that. And they also said it in the TV program I mentioned earlier, that they prepared their products for the Japanese customers. It's real fluffy and airy, just like I explained before with the other bread that we had at the cafe. It tastes like real bread, like the real German pretzel. It's still fluffy even though we carried it around all day. The garlic butter is not too intense. It like gives it a nice kind of flavor, a nice spice, and it's not too greasy, even though there's like a lot of garlic butter on top. I think it's going to be a little bit more on the sweet side. It's like a cherry bread, and I was not reading too much the description, but it said it's like a sweet wine kind of flavor. I'm really curious because it's so weird to have bread here, especially like dark bread, because it's such a savory food in Germany and Austria, I think, as well. But in a lot of places in Asia, like in South Korea and in Japan, they are really sweet. It tastes like real bread. Like real European dark bread. It's really good. Some raisins and nuts. I know that a lot of people hate raisins. I'm like, depends. Sometimes I'm okay with them. Sometimes I feel like they are overpowering. But in this case, because like the bread itself is so, I would say it's on the savory side, but it's more like a neutral kind of taste. So all the other flavors from the nuts and like the raisins come out like they are the star of the show, let's say like that. So maybe I was reading it wrong, because I can imagine myself having it to another dish with a kind of wine. And it also feels a little bit Christmassy to me because of the raisin and all the nuts that are in there. There's really like a white there's really a wide variety of nuts. Here you can see again all these kinds of nuts in there, and I think they're not only raisins, there are other dried fruit in there too. You can really, like even at the cafe, and I think I said it before, they make everything from scratch. You can really taste the quality of the food in here. We also realized that there's not so much more time left in Japan. So now we can prepare ourselves slowly, our stomach, back to European taste. Not that we are missing that too much, because like Japanese food, like the quality of the food is amazing. Like even Kura sushi, I think it's like, I'm not sure if you can say like at the bottom of like sushi restaurants. It sounds like horrible if you say it like that, because like even like the cheapest affordable sushi tastes amazing. Obviously Japan is an island and they have a lot of fresh fish, and in Fukuoka you could also get so much tasty fresh fish. It's truly amazing. Like if you're on a budget, like we are sometimes, or most of the time too, Kura sushi is a great option, or any kind of like kaiten sushi, because like even if you compare it with like sushi that we have back home, you cannot compare it. Like you really have to go to an expensive restaurant to get good quality sushi, and if you go to a normal kind of Asia based restaurant, you pay more for less and also for lower quality. And to end our Austrian dinner with a dessert, we have a little Eierschecke. And if you like show, I'm pretty sure like it also applies to Austrians, but if you show a German person like the size of the piece of cake, it's cute. It's flat. I think like at least like the size of my hand is like a normal piece of cake, like triple it, and then you have a normal piece of cake in Germany. It's really cute. But when it comes to sweets or candy, you always see like even in convenience store that the size of this food compared to, I'm pretty sure, other Western countries as well, but also Germany, it's so much smaller. Can I open it? Here. And this cake is called Eierschecke. And Eierschecke, it was really cute because we ordered all the foods that we have in like a Japanese way, because also on the menu they had like the German writing, and then also like the in katakana Japanese writing for all the things. But Japanese people also tend to shorten everything, and we ordered like Eierschecke, and then you could hear the one girl saying to the other, okay, give her more Eier. And it was kind of funny because Eier itself is like just means egg, and they shorten it to Eier and think of Eierschecke, the cake. So now let's give it a taste. Like I remember even like Eierschecke in Germany, because like every bakery makes it a little bit different. It sometimes can be too dry, and I hate dry cake in general. There's like just some cake which is okay to be dry if you have it with like tea or coffee together, but I prefer moist moist cake. And this one tastes fantastic. There's like this hint of lemon in there too, how it's supposed to be. And it's also really creamy. And the bottom is a little bit more crunchy compared to like the normal dough like I remember it. It's awesome. Eierschecke. If I would feel really, really homesick, and when I lived in Tokyo, there, like I had those moments when I was just like craving food from home, I would go there, because it's also, besides like that it's like a Japanese portion size, and if you live in Japan you get used to it anyways. It's affordable, because I remember I was not checking the prices for the cheese that they were selling, but I remember that I paid a lot for a really small piece of cheese in Tokyo, because I just needed to eat it, and I was eating it little by little over like days. So it will last longer. It tastes from top tier Eierschecke.
Mit der Zitrone.
Yeah, it's really perfect Eierschecke. Like if you want to have like a nice coffee day at Fukuoka, like try the cakes there. Eierschecke is a recommendation from us, but only because we only tried Eierschecke. So you can try other ones as well, but I'm really sure that the quality of food, because everything we ate was amazing, is really high. So thank you for watching the mukbang part of my video.
And now, haul time! Presented by a Moomin plushie, Taylor Swift Folklore CD, and some Nintendo Switch games, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Edition, a Chinchan game that plays in Kumamoto, little foreshadowing, Little Nightmares 2, and a Digimon game. And for the gacha items, my book building gacha light, I should have bought more. Red Panda on a scale and his scale story in Japanese. A fruity fig duck and a melon duck, and a sparkly-eyed Kirby figure. Thanks for watching. And yes, I certainly had my fun carrying. And yes, I certainly had my fun carrying. Warum kann ich das nicht aussprechen? Ich gebe auf. And this election noise will follow us.
It was a really authentic taste that they had there. There are always cows running around. I think there's election, like we think that there's an election going on. So sometimes it's really loud, even in the morning. Yeah, it was really good actually. Like I said 3 times before when I tried it.
So that was our taste of home in Fukuoka. From Austrian bread nostalgia to gacha ducks and losing at sushi roulette. Somehow this whole journey keeps turning into these little emotional side quests. If you want to see how this 3 months Japan journey keeps unfolding, check out the playlist on the left and start from the beginning. Or jump into another episode on the right and maybe subscribe. Only if your eyebrows approve.